Welcome back to Mr. G Does Maths. This is challenge 2. As before, pause the video, go grab a pen, make sure you've got a piece of paper and a calculator, although you won't need the calculator on quite a few of these questions. I'll show you a question at a time. You pause the video, have a go, then I'll go through the answers. As I say on every video, the crucial thing here is to give them a go. Some may look easier than they are. It's best to find out what you can't do and then see how to work it through properly. You know the deal, this video is free, but like and subscribe is a massive help. Okay, question 1 is in front of you. Pause the video, have a go, I'll come back to you in a second. Right, so question 1 is actually a lot harder than it looks. Question 1 is actually what's called a bounds question. And it's all down to this bit of the question here, where it says correct to one significant figure. And it's a 6% that's to one significant figure. So the amount I've rounded down by is 6%, which means the significant figure above is 7%, the significant figure below is 5%, and therefore the range it could be is anywhere between 5.5% and 6.5%. Now, some of you may be saying 6.5 makes 7. That's a different discussion, a different video. It's actually 6.4999 recurring, but we call it 6.5 and use the inequality symbol. The caravan is sold for £7,000. Find the lowest possible original price before the reduction was applied. So you had a value, you took some numbers off and you got 7,000. The lowest value you would have started with means that you would have reduced it by 100% minus 5.5%, i.e. the lowest amount to start with, and that would have given you your 7,000. Most of you probably know this is a multiply method, so some number multiplied by 0.945 equals 7,000, which means the original value is going to be 7,000 divided by 0.945, which gives you a value of 7,407.41 pounds. Okay, question 2, again, much more of a theory question as these questions tend to be. Find the area of this sector, pause the video, give it a go. Okay, so as I said before, I'm not going to explain every step in detail, but this one is a bit easier to explain from scratch. So if it was a whole circle, whenever we talk about circles, the radius is what matters the most. A whole circle would have an area of pi r squared. This is 29/360th of a whole circle. So therefore, basically, I just put that into the calculator where r is going to be equal to 4. So I'm doing 29/360 times by pi times by 4 squared, and that will give me a final answer of approximately 4.05 centimeters squared. Now, in this question, there isn't any give you a rounding, how many decimal places, etc. So I would tend to give 2 decimal places, and I will write down what I've done here, unless it asks me to do so otherwise. Okay, question 3. I've given you a diagram. Obviously, copy it down because you can't draw on your screen. Have a go at this. Now, this is a bit more for the international GCSE than the main GCSE, but it's skills and it's terminology you should be aware of. So give it a go anyway. Come back to you in a couple of minutes. Right, so the key when answering this is not to mess it up. Now, I know it sounds obvious, but it's very easy to miss a number out. So I always find doing a bit more rather than a bit less makes sense. So the odd numbers are going to be 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. The square numbers include 1, 4, 9, and there's no 16. And then I can very clearly see which numbers are in both lists. So 1 is in both lists, so 1 goes in the middle. 9 is in both lists, so 9 goes in the middle. 4 is only in the square, so 4 will go there. And then the remaining odd numbers, 3, 5, 7, 11, and 13 will go here. Then I need to make sure I do all the numbers I haven't used yet. So let's cross these off. So we use 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and 4. So the remaining numbers, again, try and put them in order because it just helps whoever's marking it. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12 go down here. Then we've got some questions. So this is just straight into terminology. So this first one says, write down the value of the probability of OUS dash. Well, if we say that in words, it's actually a bit easier, isn't it? So first of all, we know it's out of 13 because there are 13 things that we can choose from. And secondly, I'll switch to purple, let's go back to red. So first of all, we know it's out of 13 because there are 13 numbers to choose from. So what I need to know is how many numbers are odd or are not in S. So odd or not in S is going to be the 3, 5, 1, 7, 11, 9, 13, 2, 6, 8, 12, etc. Basically, it's most of the numbers that aren't the 4, so therefore this is going to be 12 over 13. Again, if we think of this as words, it makes it slightly easier. What's the probability of selecting a number? Well, there's 13 numbers to choose from. That is odd and a square number. Well, there's 2 of those, so it's going to be 2 over 13. Okay, and on to the red questions. So as I said, slightly hard and make you think a little bit. Doesn't mean they're going to be too hard. Give them a go. As I read through the question, come back to you in a couple of minutes. Okay, this first question is often helped if you just do a quick sketch. It allows you to think about which way the gradient's going. Things make a bit more sense if you can visualize it. So B is minus 2, 8, and C is 1, 0. So minus 2, 8 is going to be right here, but relatively 1, 0 is going to be across a bit and down a lot. So I know I've got a negative gradient because this line is sloping down. Then I need to give my answer in the form ax plus by plus c. Read the question, so don't leave it as y equals mx plus c because you'll lose a mark. In this case, therefore, the first thing I'm going to need to do with any line question is to work out the gradient. So for this one here, the gradient is rise over run or change of y over change in x. So I'm going from 8 to 0, so I'm going down by 8. In other words, I go down by 8 and I'm going across by 3, so my gradient is minus 8 over 3. Now you will have learnt one of two methods. You will have either learned to write y equals minus 8 over 3x plus c and substitute one of these things, or the one that I think works better here, given how it wants the answer, is to use y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. And I'm just going to use, because the numbers look a little bit easier, 1, 0. So therefore I'm going to let my x equal 1 and my y equal 0. So I've got y minus 0, don't really need that, but anyway, we'll write it down, equals minus 8 times x minus 1, and multiply everything by 3, which is going to give me 3y, gets rid of the 0, equals minus 8x, minus make a plus 8. I'm pretty much there, so I just need to rearrange it the way that it wants me. So bring the 8x to the other side, add on my 3y, I need the c over this side as well, so minus 8 is going to equal 0. Question 5, second of the red questions. As ever, you know what to do. Pause the video, give it a go, come back to me in a second. Right, so on the face of it, a fairly simple index question because we're just using our rules that we know. But this one looks a little bit more difficult because we've got this thing here which is throwing us. They could have actually made it a lot harder. They could put 27s and 81s and various other things in here. But there's just this 1, 9 that's the difficult. So as we remember from our index rules, and the index rules are basically all different versions of am, a to the power of m times a to the power of n equals a to the power of m plus n. So we're going to use that in different ways. However, the crucial thing to notice here is the base value, either the a value, the big number, is always the same thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the top. Well, that's already in 3, so that's okay. But this 9, instead of writing 9, I'm going to write 3 squared times by 3 to the 7. Now you could do this all in one go, but I'm going to do it in steps just so you can see what I'm doing. So the top bracket rules means you multiply the numbers, so 6 times 5 is 30, and then I'm dividing that by 2 plus 7, which is 3 to the 9. 30 minus 9 is going to give me 3 to the power of 21. Nice and straightforward once you've got the trick to the question. And finally, we've got question 6. Again, I'll leave you to it, read the question, make sure you're doing what the question wants you to do. Come back to you in a minute. Right, so this one, this is about reading what the question wants you to do. And in a way, there's a big hint in the question. The hint in the question is everything else goes away and just leaves you with a number and a root 5. So I need to think about each of these individually. So this one here has got the root 5, but it's in the wrong place. But the thing I do know is I know if I rationalize the denominator, so in other words, if I multiply top and bottom by root 5, well, I'm going to get 4 root 5 over, well, root 5 times root 5 is 5, which is the same as 4/5 root 5. Not the neatest thing in the world, but that's what we've got. If I think about this term over here, I don't really like mixed numbers, so I'm going to convert to an improper fraction, and that's going to give me the square root of 2 times 9 is 18 plus 2, 20 over 9, which if we remember from our third rule is the same as root 20 over root 9 is 3. And actually, if we remember from simplifying thirds, that's the same as 2 root 5, because root 4 times root 5 is 2 root 5, divided by 3, which of course is the same as 2/3 over root 5. So if we go back to the original question, I've got 4/5 root 5 minus 2/3 root 5. What a horrible little question, which is the same as, we'll factorize out the root 5. You've basically got 4/5 minus 2/3. Make the denominators the same. So I've got root 5, 4/5 minus 2/3. Let's do 15th. So it's going to be 12 over 15 minus 10 over 15. And it doesn't feel like the right answer, but it is indeed the right answer. You get the final answer of 2 over 15 root 5. And it doesn't say find k, but just here k is 2/15. That's it. End of video. Usual thing, like, subscribe. Any comments, just leave a comment below. I will get back to you. And enjoy.